Next I am writing the equation 1 again. m1 into u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 into v2 minus u2. So therefore, what we can write? We are substituting the v2 value from equation 5 in this equation 1. So we can write substitute the equation 5 in equation 1. So what is equation 5? m1 into u1 minus v1. Therefore m1 u1 minus m1 v1. Expansion was over on LHS. So what is RHS? m2 into, so what is v2? u1 minus u2 plus v1 minus u2. So m1 u1 minus m1 v1. If you see the expansion, it is m2 u1 minus m2 u2 plus m2 v1 minus m2 u2. If you try the simplification, this will be m1 u1 minus m1 v1 is equal to minus m2 u2 minus m2 u2. It will be m2 u1 plus m2 v1 minus 2m2 u2. So here, so what we can write? We have substituted the v2 value. We should find out the v1 value. So we should bring all v1s to one side and all u's to another side. So this is m2 v1, this is m1 v1. So I am bringing this one, this whole terms to this side. So m1 u1 plus 2m2 u2 minus m2 u1 is equal to m2 v1 plus m1 v1. So this will be m1 minus m2 of u1 plus 2m2 u2 is equal to v1 into m1 plus m2. So if we keep the v1 one side, this equation will be m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 of u1 plus two m2 u2 by m1 plus m2 is equal to v1. So previously we got the equation v2 and here we got the equation v1. This v1 is the final velocity of the first body of mass m1 after the collision. So these are the two equations which represents the final velocities of the body 1 and body 2 after the collision. So in this perfectly elastic collision or one-dimensional elastic collision, there are some special cases and sub-cases. What are those special cases? First case, if m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. That means two bodies of equal masses participating in elastic collision. So what is the answer? Let us take v1. m1 is equal to m2. So this part will become 2m2, 2m2 get cancelled, v2. And this will be cancelled out. Like this, v2. This will become 2m1, u1. And this will be cancelled out. Because m1 is equal to m2, here it is 0 by something. Here also m1 is equal to m2, 0 by something. These terms will be cancelled out for this special case. So what we can understand, v1 is equal to u2, v2 is equal to u1. That means if two equal masses participated in elastic collision, after the collision, they simply exchange their velocities. This is one of the sub case, special case. We will see the second case. So the first body's velocity u1, second body is at rest. So u2 is equal to 0. If u2 is equal to 0, v2 will become 2m1 u1 by m1 plus m2, and v1 will become m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 of u1. If we exchange the case, means second body is moving with the velocity u2, but first body is at rest. So u1 is equal to 0. So therefore v2 is equal to minus of m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 of u2. Means the second body will move with the velocity of m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 times of u2 in opposite direction, as well as v1. This part will become 0, and this we will get the answer. Like this we can understand some special cases. Next we will see the sub cases. The sub case is m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. In this case we will get the answer v2 is equal to u1, v1 is equal to 0. So according to the given equations, if two equal masses participate in the collision, the first body will automatically come to rest, but the second body will move with some more than the initial velocity of the first body, some 2m1 u1 by m1 plus m2. The second case of the sub case is if m1 is much greater than m2. m1 is much greater than m2 and u2 is equal to 0. Then we will get v1 is equal to u1, but v2 is equal to 2u1. If we substitute these values in the given equations v1 and v2, we will get the answer. That means if we neglect the mass m2 when compared to the m1 and the initial velocity of the first body is 0, then v1 will be u1, v2 will be twice of the u1. The third sub case is same. Here it is m1 much greater than m2, here it is m1 is much less than m2, as well as u2 is equal to 0. If we substitute these values, we will get v1 is equal to minus u1, but v2 is equal to 0. What is the meaning of v1 is equal to minus u1? The first body will move with the same velocity of the initial in opposite direction, but second body will automatically come to rest. These are the special cases we should discuss. We discussed in the collisions in elastic. Now we will see one problem based on this concept. Here is the problem which is based on the concept of the elastic collision. If a ball of mass 0.4 kg moving with a velocity of 3 meters per second collides elastically with another ball of mass 0.6 kg which is at rest, find their velocities after collision. So mass m1 is 0.4 kg, u1 is 3 meters per second, as well as mass m2 means second ball 0.6 kg, which initial velocity u2 is 0. We should find out the v1 and v2. So what is the equation for v1? 2m2 u2 by m1 plus m2 plus m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 into u1. 2 into m2 0.6, u2 0. This means this part will cancel. So no need to substitute because u2 already 0. So here it is m1 minus m2. For 0.4 minus 0.6 kg into u1 is 3 by m1 plus m2 0.4 plus 0.6. This is minus 0.2 into 3 by 1. It is minus 0.6 meters per second. The next one is V2. The equation for V2 is 2m1 u1 by m1 plus m2 plus m2 minus m1 by m1 plus m2 of u2. Automatically u2 is 0. That means in place of V2, this part will be cancelled. Therefore, 2 into, what is m1? 0.4. What is u1? 3 meters. m1 plus m2, 0.4 plus 0.6. 2 3s are 6. 6 into 0.4, 2.4 by 1. It is 2.4 meters per second. So the body V1 will move with minus 0.6 meters per second. The body will move with velocity 2.4 meters per second in this special case of collision. The next concept we are discussing is perfectly inelastic collision. In inelastic collisions, Newton's laws are invalid, and at the same time, in perfectly inelastic collision, the situation will be like this. There are two bodies of mass m1 and m2. They both are moving relative to each other with the velocities u1 and u2 respectively. They both are on the same plane but moving relative to each other, means facing opposite to each other. While they collide like this, they completely stick on to on collision. Collision took place. After this collision, these two bodies will stick together and moves with common velocity in the forward or backward direction. That means they both will move with common velocity, means the total mass will become m1 plus m2. Each one's mass will become v. That means v1 and v2, either v1 or v2 should be 0. Then if v1 is 0, v2 will become v. If v2 is 0, v1 will become v. So according to the law of conservation of momentum, the momentum before collision is equal to momentum after the collision. Or we can say this one as net momentum before collision is equal to net momentum after collision. Here the net momentum before the collision is m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to the net momentum after collision, means m1 body is moving with velocity v as well as m2 also moving with the same velocity, because either v1 or v2 should be 0. So in this case, the equation changes like this: m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to v of m1 plus m2. So we can find out the final velocity of the entire system in this elastic collision or perfectly inelastic collision is v is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. This is the final velocity of the system after the collision. Why we are calling it as system? Because it contains the two bodies which stick together and moving with a common velocity either forward or backward directions. Here is one problem which is based on the concept of perfectly inelastic collision. If you see the problem, the content is a sphere of mass 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg moving with a velocity of 2 meters per second hits another sphere which is at rest. Assuming the collision to be head-on collision, and if they stick together after collision and move in the same direction with a velocity of 0.5 meters per second, find the mass of the second sphere. If you see the problem, first we should write the physical quantities that are present in the problem. There is a sphere of mass 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. Therefore, m1 is equal to 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. Is moving with a velocity of 2 meters per second. So we can write u1 is equal to 2 meters per second. It hits another sphere which is at rest, means we don't know what is m2, but the velocity of that m2 is 0. After the head-on collision, they both stick together and moved in the same direction with a common velocity of 0.5 meters per second. Therefore, v is equal to 0.5 meters per second. If this is the case, we should find out the mass of the second sphere, nothing but m2. In perfectly inelastic collision, the velocity v is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. V is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. We should find out m2. Therefore, m1 plus m2 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by v. Therefore, m2 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by v minus m1. So after the substitution, the values will be like this. Therefore, m2 is equal to, where m1 is 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3, where u1 is 2 meters per second, plus m2 we should find out, but u2 is 0, by the common velocity v is equal to 0.5 meters per second, minus m1 again 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So this will be 50 into 2, 100. So 100 into 10 to the power of minus 3 by 0.5, and this m2 into 0 will be 0, minus 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So if you take 50 into 10 to the power of minus 3 as common, this will be 2 by 0.5 minus 1. This 2 by 0.5 is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 into 50, 150. So it will be 150 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. So the mass of the second sphere, which involves in the perfectly inelastic collision, is 150 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. In other words, we can say 0.15 grams. The next concept we should discuss is coefficient of restitution. it is represented by small e. Small e is the symbol to represent the coefficient of restitution. So what is this coefficient? What is the way to define it? Let us take two bodies of masses m1 and m2. While they are approaching, their velocities are u1 and u2 before the collision. After the collision, they are separating with velocities v1 and v2 in opposite directions. In perfectly inelastic collision, they both will move in the common velocity with common direction, but in elastic collisions, they both will separate in the two opposite directions. So, while they are approaching, we should find out the relative velocity of the approach before collision. While they are separating, we should find out the relative velocity of the separation after collision. The ratio between the relative velocity of separation after the collision to the ratio of the relative velocity of the approach, it is called coefficient of restitution. So, the relative velocity in approach before collision means these two bodies are approaching with each other with velocities u1 and u2. The relative velocity is simply u1 minus u2. The relative velocity in separation after the collision is v1 minus v2. But this v1 and v2 direction is exactly opposite to the direction of u1 and u2. That means direction of separation is exactly opposite to the direction of approach. That's why in vector wise we should keep the negative symbol or minus symbol, which indicates the opposite in direction of motion. So the ratio between the separation relative velocity to the approach relative velocity is called coefficient of restitution. Therefore, E is equal to minus of v1 minus v2 by u1 minus u2. It is v2 minus v1 by u1 minus u2. In other cases, we can write this one as v1 minus v2 by u2 minus u1 also. Not an issue. Anyway, we will get the same answer. So this is said to be coefficient of restitution. Here we have find the relative velocity of separation divided by relative velocity of approach. This E value is different for different types of collision. For elastic collision, or perfectly elastic collision, E value is 1. Perfectly inelastic collision, E value is 0. But practically the value lies in between 0 to 1. If you say this physical quantity, it is the ratio between the velocities, means along with the magnitudes, the units also get cancelled. That's why coefficient of restitution is one of the dimensionless and unitless physical quantity. So it is unitless and dimensionless physical quantity. So like this, we can understand this concept. Next, we will see the way to find the expression for the coefficient of restitution in case of the freely falling bodies. Now, we will see a freely falling body from a height h1 or h. It is coming towards the earth. Whenever the freely falling body is there, its initial velocity is completely zero. Once it rebounds on the earth, it will again move to the heights with a different velocity, or something, there is a loss in the velocity. How it will be look like? This is the body which is falling from a height h1 towards the earth. So its initial velocity will be u1 is equal to under root 2g h1. Because it is falling from the height h1, it took a bounce on the earth. Again, it will go up. While it is going up, it won't reach the same height as it is falling before. It will reach some other height. Let us say the height is h2. If this is the initial velocity, the velocity attained by the body while it is going up after the bouncing will become the final velocity. So, the final velocity after bouncing v1 is equal to under root 2g h2. Automatically, this will become v2 as a case of freely falling body. So, the coefficient of restitution E is equal to v2 minus v1 by u1 minus u2. So this will be going up, that's why we can say minus of. Therefore, v2 is 0, 0 minus of minus root of 2g h2 by root of 2g h1 minus 0. So, E is equal to square root of 2g h2 by square root of 2g h1, where we can cancel the 2g and 2g terms. Therefore, E is equal to square root of h2 by h1. E is proportional to h2 and E is inversely proportional to h1. If the time taken to reach the height h2 is t2, the time taken to reach the height h1 is t1. Therefore, this E will be equal to square root of t2 by t1 also. So, coefficient of restitution is dependent upon the height of falling and time taken to reach the destination. This is the way to understand the expression for the coefficient of restitution in the case of freely falling bodies. Here we are discussing a problem which is related on the concept of coefficient of restitution. If you see the problem, the content is from a height 20 meters above a horizontal floor, a ball is thrown down with initial velocity 20 meters per second. After striking the floor, the ball bounces to the same height from which it was thrown. Find the coefficient of restitution for the collision between the ball and the floor. Let us suppose the height means from 20 meters of distance it has traveled, we can say it as height also. And it was thrown with the initial velocity u 20 meters per second. After colliding with the floor, after striking the floor, it has reached to the same height. So, which was thrown, find the coefficient of restitution for this case between the collision between ball and the floor. So, as we know from the kinematic equations of motion, v square minus u square is equal to 2as. This will become v square minus u square, or v1 square minus u1 square is equal to 2gh. Therefore, V1 square minus U1 square means 20 square is equal to 2 into, let us take G is equal to 10 and H is equal to 20. Therefore, V1 square is equal to 2 into 10, 20, 20 into 20, 400 minus plus 20 square. So, 400 plus 400, 800 is equal to V1 square. So, we can write V1 is equal to square root of 800. So, square root of 400 into 2, it is nothing but 20 root 2 meters per second. The height which it is reached, h, is equal to V1 square by 2g. V1 square is 800 by 20, because g we are taking as 10. It will get 40 meters. Continue. So, this 40 we can write as h1 plus h2. So, h1 is 20 meters, h2 is 20 meters, means the ball was again went back to the same height. From this expression we can write V1 is equal to square root of 2gh, therefore it is 2 into 10 into 20. 2 into 20 is 40, 40 into 10 is 400, so root of 400. So, root of 400 is nothing but 20. So, we got V1 as 20 meters per second. So, therefore, coefficient of restitution small e is equal to V2 minus V1 by U1 minus U2. So, V2 0 minus of V1 we got 20 whole divided by U1 is 20 root 2 as we know, minus U2 is 0. So, it is 20 by 20 root 2, 20 and 20 get cancelled. So, E is equal to 1 by root 2. So, practical values of E lies in between 0 to 1. So, it is 1 by root 2 means 1 by 1.4, approximately equal to 0.7. Now, we will see a concept which is related to the coefficient of restitution. The concept is the height attained by a body on the floor after the number of rebounds. As we know that, suppose if a body falls from a height h or h1 on the floor, after the collision takes place with the floor, this body will rebound. For every rebound, the height attained by the body is going to decrease. In only few cases or rare cases, after the rebound or after the collision, this rebounds will reach the same height as before as it is dropped from. It is a few case, very few case, very rare case. But as usually, suppose if this is the h, after the one rebound it will reach the height h1. From this height it will rebound, so the height reaches to h2, next h3, h4, continuously decreasing. So for every rebound it will reach some height. So here we are finding the height attained by the body with the help of coefficient of restitution. So for the case, let us take a body which is falling from a height h with velocity u1. After colliding with the floor, it will reach a height h1. From the height h1, it will moving with the velocity u2. After that, it will reach the height h2 and falling with a velocity u3. After that, it will reach a height h3, and from that height h3, it will falling with a velocity u4. Like that, it will be continued for n times. So in the first case, we will see u1 is equal to under root 2gh. We know that. To continue. So u1 is equal to root 2gh. So what we can say? v1, v2. We know that v2 is 0, v1 is v1 only. So in this case, coefficient of restitution small e is equal to v1 minus v2 by u2 minus u1. So if this is the case, e is equal to, where it is v1, v2 is 0, whether it is u2 minus u1 is root 2gh. So we can say that u2 is also 0. Therefore, e is equal to v1 by minus root 2gh. From this, v1 is equal to minus root 2gh e. The height attained by the body, in this case with this velocity, is equal to h1 is equal to v1 square by 2g. Therefore, h1 is equal to v1 square means minus of square root 2gh into e whole square by 2g. Root 2g square by 2g get cancelled. So it will be minus e square h or h1. So we will get h1 is equal to minus e square h. Like this, we will find h2, h3, and we will find the common equation. So after the height reached h1, it is releasing with the velocity u2. So after the one bounce, or after the first bounce, velocity changes to u2 is equal to square root of 2gh1. So if velocity changes like this, the coefficient of restitution E is equal to v1 minus v2 by u2 minus u1. So we know that v1 is 0, therefore it is minus v2 by u2 means root 2gh1 minus 0. So automatically v2 is equal to root of 2gh1 e, or we can say that v2 is equal to minus root of 2gh1e. If this is the case, the height attained by the body after this rebounds, height attained by the body after the bounce is equal to h2. h2 is equal to v2 square by 2g. So we can write h2 is equal to v2 is nothing but minus under root 2g h1 E whole square by 2g. So this will be h1 E square. So h2 is equal to h1 E square. But we know that h1 is equal to E square h. So we got V2 is equal to minus E square into square root of 2gh, as well as h2 or h1 is or h is equal to minus E2 square whole h. V2 is a function of E2, but h2 is a function of e power 4. So we got V1 is equal to e power 1 into under root 2gh, as well as h1 is equal to e2 into h. By seeing these two equations, V2 is equal to E2, H2 is equal to e power 4, or V2 is proportional to e power 2, H2 is proportional to e power 4. From this we can write Vn is proportional to e power n, but Hn is proportional to e power 2n. So therefore, velocity attained after the n bounces is equal to e power n into root 2gh. Height attained after the n bounces is equal to e power 2n into h. These two expressions are very important for our normal CBSE syllabus and any competitive exams. So we can see the proportionality ratio between the Vn and En, and proportionality ratio with the power of 2 between Hn and e power 2n. Here one problem which is related to the concept of height attained by the body after the number of rebounds. The problem's concept is, there is a steel ball is allowed to fall freely from a height of 36 centimeters onto a smooth floor. Find the height to which it rises after rebound from the floor. Coefficient of restitution between the steel ball and the floor is 0.60. We should find out the height after the rising. Coefficient of restitution E is equal to 0.60. So, is height is some 36 centimeters. It is nothing but 36 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meters. If this is the case, we should find the height which it rises after rebound from the floor. Height after rebound. H1 is equal to e to the power of 2 into h. Therefore, e to the power of 2, 0.60 whole square into h, 36 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meters. So it is 0.6 into 0.6. So simply 0.36 into 36 into 10 to the power of minus 2. Approximately we will get 0.13 meters. So after the first bounce, it will reach some 0.13 meters. Initially it is at a height of some 0.36 meters. Next concept we will see is the distance or the total distance traveled by the body after the number of rebounds. That means what we can understand from this concept is, yes, there is a floor. This is one bounce. After that it will reach this much height. Next this much, next this much, and continuously decreasing and comes to approach to 0 like this. So from here to here, what is the distance traveled by the body? So many other factors are influencing the distance traveled by the body on the floor. Friction, coefficient of restitution, the effect of gravity, many all these are affecting this motion of the body. So the total distance d is equal to h1 plus h2 plus h3 plus h4 and so on hn. We know that h1 is equal to E2h, h2 is equal to E4h, h3 is equal to e power 6h, h4 is equal to e power 8h and so on. So what we can understand is original height is h. After that it will falls to h1. Next rises to h1 means to h1. Next h2 rise, h2 down, 2h2. h3 rise, h3 down, 2h3. So therefore total distance d is equal to h plus 2h1 plus 2h2 plus 2h3 and so on. So it will be h plus 2. What is h1? E square h plus 2 h2 e power 4h, h3 e power 6h and so on. If you take h as common, 1 plus 2e square plus 2 into e power 4 plus 2 into e power 6 and so on. So h into 1 plus 2e square, take common. If you take 2e square from this words common, we will get 1 plus e square plus e power 4 and so on. 1 plus e square plus e power 4 plus and so on means 1 power e power 2n is equal to 1 by 1 minus e square. So this will be written as h of 1 plus 2e square into 1 by 1 minus e square, because this whole term can be written as 1 by 1 minus e square. So therefore d is equal to h into 1 plus 2e square into 1 by 1 minus e square. So if we take h 1 minus e square as LCM, the first term is 1 minus e square plus 2e square. Therefore it is h into 1 plus e square by 1 minus e square is equal to d. So the total distance travelled after n bounces or n number of rebounds is equal to height into 1 plus e square by 1 minus e square. Here is one problem on the concept of the distance travelled by a body after the number of rebounds. If you see the concept of the problem, a ball falls from a height of 10 meters onto a hard horizontal floor and repeatedly bounces. If the coefficient of restitution is 1 by root 2, what is the total distance travelled by the ball before it ceases to rebound? So the height from which the body is falling is 10 meters. Coefficient of restitution E is equal to 1 by root 2. So the distance travelled d is equal to h into 1 plus e square by 1 minus e square. Therefore d is equal to, where h is 10 meters into 1 plus e square means 1 by root 2 whole square, it is nothing but 1 plus half whole divided by 1 minus e square means 1 by 2. So 10 into 2 is the LCM, 2 plus 1 by, here also 2 is the LCM, 2 minus 1. Therefore, D is equal to 10 into 3 by 2 by 1 by 2 whole divided by 1 by 2. So, 10 into 3 by 2 into 2 by 1. 2 to get cancelled. 10 into 3, 30 meters. So, therefore, distance travelled by the body after some number of rebounds repeatedly is 30 meters if the coefficient of restitution is 1 by root 2. The next concept we will see is elastic collision in 2 dimensions or oblique collision. We know that oblique means simply a slope. So, the diagram for this concept is, let us take a body A. This is the reference point. It is colliding the other object with an angle theta 1. Because of this angle of oblique or angle of inclination, after colliding with this body, this will come to this and this will go to this. This A will go to this direction. This is B. This B go to this direction with an angle made theta 2. In this case, we should find out the momentum along x-axis as well as y-axis. The momentum along x-axis is with the velocities u1 and u2, y-axis is with the v1 and v2. So, conservation of Ke is equal to half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square is equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. So, all halves will be cancelled. The body A, after the collision, it travels along the x-axis. The body B, which is initially on the x-axis, after the collision it is moving down of the y. So, this will be m1 u1 square plus m2 u2 square is equal to m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. Now we will see the conservation of momentum along x and y axis. Conservation of momentum along x axis. So it will be m1 v1 cos theta 1 plus m2 v2 cos theta 2 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. This is along the x-axis. If you see the y-axis, if x-axis component is cos, automatically y-axis will become sine. But here the separation is exactly opposite to each other. Here it is the oblique, here it is exactly from 0 to 180 degrees. Therefore, we will get some m1 v1 sin theta 1 minus m2 v2 sin theta 2 is equal to 0. So, the conservation of momentum along y-axis is m1 v1 sin theta 1 minus m2 v2 sin theta 2 is equal to 0. If we solve the previous equation, we will get u1 v1 theta 1 and theta 2. To solve these to get all these four, we should solve this equation and the previous equation. Now we will see some special cases to solve these values in this collision. So what are the cases we will see the one? First we will take a reference frame, and this is the point of inclination. The object is inclined with an angle theta 1. Automatically after the collision, along the x-axis, this will become v1 cos theta 1 and v2 cos theta 2. This will be theta 2. So here it is v1 sin theta 1. This is v2 sin theta 2. So u1, u2. This is m1, this is m2. This is the sketch to understand the concept. So we know that this is the collision angle. After that the body will move to the angle theta 2 with velocity components cos theta 1 and cos theta 2 along the x-axis, sin theta 1 and sin theta 2 along the y-axis. After the collision took place, according to law of conservation of momentum, we will see m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Here the condition is m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. u1 is u, but u2 is 0. So this will be m u1 plus 0 is equal to m1 v1 cos theta 1 plus m2 v2 cos theta 2. So as we know that m1 and m2 is equal to m, therefore it is m u1 is equal to m v1 cos theta 1 plus m v2 cos theta 2. I am bringing this whole equation to this side, so m into u1 minus v1 cos theta 1 is equal to m into v2 cos theta 2. So m and m get cancelled. Now I am squaring on both sides. So u1 minus v1 cos theta 1 whole square is equal to v2 cos theta 2 whole square. Therefore u1 minus cos theta 1 whole square is equal to v2 cos theta 2 whole square. Now I am applying the a minus b whole square formula in the LHS of the equation. So a square plus b square minus 2ab is equal to v2 square cos square theta 2. This is equation 1. If you see the diagram, v1 sin theta 1 is equal to v2 sin theta 2. So from figure, v1 sin theta 1 is equal to v2 sin theta 2. So after squaring on both sides, so we will get v1 square sin theta 1 is equal to v2 square sin theta 2 and v2 square sin square theta 2. It is also v1 square sin square theta 1. So this is, let us say, suppose equation 2. Now I am adding the LHS of 1 to the LHS of 2 and RHS of equation 1 to the RHS of 2. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. I am adding LHS to LHS and RHS to RHS. So the equation will become u1 square plus v1 square cos square theta 1 plus v1 square sin square theta 1 minus 2u1 v1 cos theta 1 is equal to v2 square cos square theta 2 plus v2 square sin square theta 2. As we know that sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. So therefore u1 square plus v1 square minus 2u1 v1 cos theta 1 is equal to, this is v2 square. This is the equation. So let us say the equation number 3. After applying the law of conservation of momentum, this equation we got. But according to law of conservation of energy, half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square is equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. So we know that u2 is equal to 0. So therefore this equation will become half m1 u1 square is equal to half m2 m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So half get cancelled. So m1 u1 square is equal to m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. All are m only, because m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. Therefore m u1 square is equal to m v1 square plus m v2 square. So we can write u1 square minus v1 square is equal to v2 square. Previously we got one equation for v2 square. In place of that we are substituting this e1 minus v1. So the equation 3 is u1 square plus v1 square minus 2u1 v1 cos theta 1 is equal to v2 square. So in place of v2 we can write u1 square minus v1 square. Therefore u1 square plus v1 square minus 2u1 v1 cos theta 1 is equal to u1 square minus v1 square. So what we can understand from this concept is plus u1 square would get cancelled. So therefore this v1 comes to here, 2 v1 square is equal to 2 u1 v1 cos theta 1, 2 get cancelled. So therefore v1 is equal to u1 cos theta 1. So we got v1 is equal to u1 cos theta 1. So 1 was fine. Next v2 theta 1 theta 2 also. So finally we got v1 is equal to u1 cos theta 1. Now we are substituting this v1 value in the previous equation. So the equation is v2 square is equal to u1 square minus v1 square. So therefore v2 square is equal to u1 square minus, where v1 is u1 cos theta 1 whole square. So it is u1 square minus u1 square cos square theta 1 is equal to v2 square. The RHS of the equation we can take u1 square as common. u1 square is equal to 1 minus cos square theta 1. u1 square into, we know that 1 minus cos square theta is sin square theta. Therefore, it is sin square theta 1 is equal to v2 square. Therefore, v2 is equal to u1 sin theta. So, we want v1 is equal to u1 cos theta, v2 is equal to u1 sin theta. Therefore, v1 and v2 are right angles to each other. So, finally, we got the final velocities of the collided bodies in oblique collision. After the collision, we have find v1 as a function of cos theta 1, v2 as a function of sin theta 1. Here we are observing a problem which is related to the concept of oblique collision or two-dimensional elastic collision. The concept of the problem is a ball 1 has mass m and moving at 5 meters per second. It collides with a ball 2 of mass 2m which is at rest. After collision, ball 1 has a velocity of 2 meters per second at an angle of 50 degrees relative to its original direction as shown in figure. What is the velocity of ball 2 after the collision? So, this is the ball of mass m moving with velocity 5 meters per second ready to collide with the mass 2m. After that, it is moving with a velocity of some 2 meters per second at an angle 50 degrees. Then what is the velocity of ball 2 after the collision? We should find out. So, m1 is m, m2 is 2m, u1 is 5 meters per second, but u2 is 0. So, we know that m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Along with the angle, we should find out m1 v1 cos theta 1 plus m2 v2. So, we can write mu1 plus 0 is equal to m v1 cos theta plus m v2 cos theta 2. Here it is cos theta 1. So, this whole will become mu1 is equal to m v1 cos theta 1 into plus 2m into v2x. So, the equation we got is mu1 is equal to m v1 cos theta plus 2m into v2x. So, in all parts m is common, we can cancel the m. So, therefore, u1 is equal to v1 cos theta 1 plus 2 into v2x. We should find out the body's velocity along the x-axis after the collision. So, therefore, u1 minus v1 cos theta 1 by 2 is equal to v2x. So, therefore, where u1 is 5 meters per second, where v1 is 2 meters per second into cos 50 all divided by 2 is equal to v2x. So, we will get v2x as plus 1.86 meters per second. Velocity of the body after the collision along x-axis is 1.86 meters per second. Now, we will find out the velocity along y-axis. Then we will apply the vector method to find out the final velocity. So, in y direction, zero is equal to m v1 sin theta plus 2m v2y. So, m get cancelled. So, we will write v1 sin 50 plus 2 into v2y is equal to 0. Therefore, minus v1 sin 50 by 2 is equal to v2y. So if we apply the values, V2y, we will get minus 0.766 meters per second. Already we got V2x is equal to 1.86 meters per second. Velocity along x-axis this much, velocity along y-axis this much. The resultant magnitude of the velocity will become square root of V2x square plus V2y square. So the magnitude of velocity v is equal to square root of V2y square plus V2x square. Therefore V2y is equal to 1.86 whole square, V2x 0.766 whole square minus. So if you multiply the square and apply the root, we will get V is equal to 2.01 meters per second. So this is the velocity of the ball 2 after the collision. Then what is the angle of V2 with respect to x-axis? Angle made by V2 on x-axis, theta is equal to tan inverse V2y by V2x, because tan theta is equal to y by x, theta is equal to tan inverse y by x. So therefore theta is equal to tan inverse V2y is equal to (0.766) by V2x 1.86. So finally we will get minus 22.4 degrees. This is the angle made by the velocity component V2 with respect to x-axis is minus 22.4 degrees. So in this chapter we have started with definitions and units of work, types of work, and definitions and units of energy and different types of energies, concept of power and collisions.